Monday, I left my full-time gig. So my full-time gig is this. Not just YouTube, but also my production company, JKO Productions, where I'm working with companies to do similar things that I did for the company I worked for before. Since Monday, I've been devoting myself to everything else, really. So I'm very excited because this is my dream, to have my own production company and do my own thing. I'm just absolutely ecstatic. My old website, rawautos.com, has been doing really well numbers-wise for analytics and whatnot. So I am getting back into reviewing cars. Now, what that means for you is that there's going to be more content here and more content at my Raw Autos YouTube page. So it's just a lot of really, really great stuff happening for me in 2018. Really excited about everything that's going on. And I was approved earlier today to get back into a press fleet program to start reviewing cars again. So hopefully they'll be sending me cars come March or April, and that will be awesome because I'll be showing you guys some stuff that I'm doing or reviewing on this channel, and then you can actually pick up the reviews on Raw Autos. Raw Autos will be the main official channel for everything car related, but this channel will be behind the scenes, my life, and everything else around me. So that's what's really exciting for me. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy coming along for the ride, and there's a lot of stuff to do. I've still got a lot of stuff planned. I've got the G85 versus GH5 video. Do you need to spend $2,000 on a body-only GH5, or can you spend just under $1,000 and get a G85 and be completely happy? Cliff notes, yes. For most people, yes, you absolutely can. But I'll dive a little bit deeper because you can get, for what you'll spend on the GH5, you can actually spend a lot less on the G85 and get most of the same thing. So that's good news. That's awesome stuff. A couple other things that I've got going on. Let's see. I'm going to be reviewing the iPhone 10 versus the G85, GH5, and X-T2 when it comes to video quality. So that's going to be kind of neat because I'm going to take the 4K quality of all those cameras and put them up against each other so you can actually see really what you're paying for, and if you can actually use an iPhone to film anything, really, to shoot a film or a vlog or whatever, car reviews, whatever. So we'll be doing a lot of stuff like that. I got some microphone reviews because I want you to see that you can spend a lot less and still get really great quality for microphones. Just there's so much coming up. I've got so much great content, fresh stuff that's going to be really awesome. I still have that the Acer laptop that I'm going to be reviewing. I'm doing a full 4K vlog on there, so you'll be able to see whether it can or cannot edit 4K. But right now, what I do want to talk about is SD cards. I know I talked about that a couple vlogs ago, but one of the things I'm going to address today are SD cards that work for the Panasonic GH5, V60 cards to be exact. So the Panasonic GH5 shoots at 400 megabits per second in an all-I format. Okay, so it's a lot of information being read to a... Sorry, my light just fell down. Well, not the light, but the diffusion for the light. So I'm going to turn down my ISO. Let's see here. All right, well, that works for right now. Anyway, so see, when you're shooting, of course, it's falling right now as we speak. Guess I didn't tape it up well enough. See, when you're shooting, you just got to roll with the punches and go with what happens. Anyway, so with the GH5's 400 megabit per second recording feature, it uses a lot of information, or it takes in a lot of information and has to write that to a memory card. And most memory cards can handle higher speeds, but not at a sustained level, not at that all the time level. Okay, so you want to get something that's at least a V60, V90, those will work. V30 will work for 4K, but V60 and V90 will work for any type of 4K, and V90 will definitely work for 8K as well. So I bought these three cards with my own money. These are not cards that I have gotten into I've not been given these cards. I purchased all three of these cards. They are the Delkin 64 gigabyte V60 card. They are this one is the Amplim V60 64 gig card as well. And then the Freetail Evoke Pro V60 64 gig card. So all three of these cards, I have tested all three of them. All these cards work perfectly. They all film for about 20 or 22 minutes, something like that. And I like them so much at their price, well, especially the Freetail. The Freetail was actually the cheapest, and because it was so cheap, I went and bought a V60 128 gigabyte Freetail card as well. So now I have 4 of these cards, 3 of them being 64 gigabytes, and 1 of them being 128 gigs, but all V60. They all work perfectly with the 400 megabit per second all-eye recording on the GH5, and so they're perfect. They will set you back a little bit more money, but if you have the GH5 and you plan on recording 400 megabits per second, you're going to need these cards. You're going to need at least a V60. You don't have to go V90. That is overkill. You can do it, but V90 will work beautifully, and so will V60, so you won't have any problems with either one. So of all 3 cards, the Amplim was actually the most expensive at $80, $79.92 on Amazon. The Delkin was $49.50, and the Freetail was $45.99. Now I went and bought the Delkin 128 gigabyte V60 card is $103 on Amazon. So it's a bit overkill for that price. $103, that's a bit much. The Freetail Evoke Pro, $85.99, 86 bucks for 128 gigabytes, and it works perfectly fine. So I saved a little bit of money, got myself a really good memory card. Everything's golden. If you take 2 64 gig cards and put them on a GH5, you have about 42 minutes or so of record time. Whereas if you took a 128 gig card, you'd have about 40 to 44 minutes of record time as well, for that 400 megabit per second. So what I do is I take the 128 and the 64 from Freetail, and I pair them up. So I have 40-ish minutes here and 20-ish minutes here. So I have right at roughly an hour or so of record time for these memory cards. So that's going to help you in the future. I spent 46 bucks on this one and $86 on this one. So for that price, for what is that? It's 86. So for $132, I mean, it costs you $100 just to get one of the other V60 memory cards of 128 gigs. And then also the fact that you're going to spend 150 or more. Actually, you'll spend about $199 to get a V90 card that's 128 gigs. You might spend about $100 on a V90 64 gig card. So that's really pricey for many people. Obviously, if you're doing production and stuff like that, in most cases you'll be able to get a paycheck and pay for it easily. But sometimes you want to get more than one. So understandably, instead of spending $400 on memory cards, you can spend $260, 2 128 gig cards and 2 64 gig cards. But all 4 cards work brilliantly. I have had no issues with any of them yet. There are people that are reviewing these cards on Amazon that some of them have said they've had issues here and there, but I've had none as of yet with the GH5. So I don't know if there are, build dates where certain ones work better than others. If you get a later model versus an earlier model, I don't know. I would hesitate to buy one of these used on eBay or Amazon for that reason. And memory cards used, you really just don't want to get a used memory card anyway, and that's why you want to go with new.